Show me.
I'm the martial arts film freak, and I watched Crazy Samurai Musashi.
音程100に他流派300これだけ揃えばいくら武蔵といえども我が吉岡一門必ずや奴を仕留めるのだ。
Crazy Samurai Musashi, or Crazy Samurai 400 vs. 1, is a 2020 film released this year in the US, directed by Yuji Shimomura, starring Tak Sakaguchi, who you may recognize from Reborn from a few years ago. That is a pretty decent movie. This is about one samurai versus 400, as the American title would reveal. This clan is trying to take him down because he killed like multiple leaders of theirs. And this is a 90-minute long movie, and 77 minutes of it is one single take fight scene. This movie has been talked about on the internet, especially in the martial arts community, for quite a while, because that is quite a feat to do a 77-minute long fight scene and without any cuts. And if you do cut, they got to be really hidden. And it is kind of boring. Now you need to understand, this is a feat of movie making. This is a extreme expression of filmmaking. And I think for that reason, perhaps filmmakers may really enjoy this movie. People who are going after a martial arts film will be bored out of their minds. I didn't think this was an ultimately extremely waste of time boring. It took effort. I yawned quite a bit because what happens with 77 minutes is you can't choreograph that. Nobody's going to remember 77 minutes. You're not going to coordinate 400 people. I do this because there's definitely moments where you see different stunt guys rotating around camera after they get killed and they're off camera. They come back and they maybe change their clothes, but the haircut's always the same. I noticed a couple of them just from the haircuts. But you can't choreograph 77 minutes and you can't choreograph 400 people. So what happens is there are sections that are choreographed. And then there are long spurts of time where there simply isn't choreography. He gets surrounded by about 30 guys, and then he takes them out one by one with about 5 of the same move. He repeats the same 5 moves probably like 100 times throughout the film. It's interesting. It's just ultimately not... It's interesting on paper, but it's not visually striking. It is interesting the way the camera is able to move through so many people, how they could coordinate so many people to not bump into the camera. However, in this, I did get a little bit annoyed because as people are moving through the camera, there are times where the action is blocked. You don't get to see it. And then I think, well, is anything actually that interesting actually happening? But also in that interesting camera movement, there are long sections of time, probably up to 8, maybe even 10 minutes, where the camera does sit in one spot. There's an interesting-ish, again, I'm going to say ish a lot. There's a lot of times where it's just not choreographed and he's just taking them out one by one with the same 5 moves. But there's a pretty nice moment, a lengthy moment that I still yawned through quite a bit, where it's like a town square where he has his back to a little pavilion and he's taking them out in front of them one by one. And the camera tends to just sit in one spot for about 8 to 10 minutes at that point, and it does that a couple times throughout the film. One thing I did enjoy is there's like boss fight sections where there's like somebody will come out of the crowd and say, I am the leader of blah blah blah, I'm going to take you out, and you know, they have their own little back and forth for a minute. That's kind of cool. There's a couple times where he gets some sort of boss fight like that I really did quite enjoy. It's just that doesn't happen too often, and so majority of the time there's a little bit of choreography and then there's no choreography. There are sections where you get a breather. It's not all action, so you don't have to you can stop paying attention for a minute. And it's these sections where Musashi who is a real person, by the way. I think it's Miyamoto Musashi. This movie is based on a real guy. It's just not, I guess, a true story. It's an original story, where there's moments where he has placed a new sword and a bottle of water throughout this town. And so he is moving throughout this area saying, okay, I'm going to stop here, take a breather, get a new sword. Stop here, take a breather, get a new sword. Happens a few times. It's a nice little bit of respite for you to stop, take a breath, stop staring at the screen because you've been staring at the screen because there's been a 77-minute long fight scene going on. So you can stop staring at the screen for a minute, take a breath, take a step back, because you are kind of getting exhausted as much as Tak Sakaguchi, I believe is his name. Did I say his name right? I don't remember. Tak Sakaguchi, yes. You are with him along this movie. So when he's getting tired, you're also kind of getting tired. That's actually a really good thing. Like, Tak, fantastic. The dude went for 77 minutes, and I guess, so did all his stunt dudes, but they're only dealing with one guy. He's dealing with 400 of them. 400. And yeah, again, like, it's a fantastic expression of filmmaking. It's an exhausting one for the viewer, for the camera guy, for Tak, for the however many stunt people they had. It's exhausting. It's interesting on paper. It's not ultimately that visually striking. I don't know if I recommend this. It's really boring, while I guess being an interesting idea. I'm going to say this is not a movie if you are a martial arts fan. If you just wanted really good fight scenes, don't watch this movie. If you want a crazy, holy crap, how did they do that movie? If you're just a film nerd, yeah, sure, maybe go watch this. You might get bored too. Ultimately, I think I'm going to give this 2.5 sword head taps out of 5. He does that to lots of people. Like, he'll get crowded and he'll like fake one way and then tap a dude on the head with the sword and they die. He does that like at least 150 times. Yeah, it's an interesting idea and it's kind of cool. Ultimately, it's really boring, but I could be wrong. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. What did you think of Crazy Samurai Musashi or Crazy Samurai 400 versus 1? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Head over to Facebook, where is the Martial Arts Film Freak Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.